Guys on the internet talk constantly about how there are no good women out there. And they have a point. There does certainly seem to be a lot less good women to choose from nowadays. But did you ever think the advice on dating that you have been getting on YouTube has been steering you towards the trashy girls? You probably didn't think about that. Well, today I'm going to show you the reason you are probably only getting at best sixes in the dating market that, of course, you'll call sevens or eights. And I'm also going to show you how to fix that problem so you can get actual eights and nines and as close to a 10 out of 10 girl as anyone could think of. And this is especially true for you red pill guys who've been following some good principles and have been preventing yourself from getting taken advantage of by women, but you're still finding yourself stuck. So, to understand how you are probably narrowing yourself to lower quality sixes, let's work backwards. So, how many knockout nines and close to tens do you know who are drunk at the bar and getting railed out by some average guy who picks her up at around 2 a.m. around closing time? How many of them do you know who have banged through a ton of guys and who are highly promiscuous? I'm talking nines and tens. That's for those of you guys who even know any nines and tens, because some of you don't even know them. Now, what's going to happen is all these guys who are watching right now are going to be like, I knew about this one girl who she was really hot and she had like 100 guys or whatever. Okay, save that answer for later. Answer my next question. Now, in comparison to the first question about nines and tens, how many of you have been able to notice the 5, 6, and 7s that are in any busy bar at any particular Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening getting picked up by random guys? You'll count a lot more of those, right? You'll notice there's a lot more 5, 6, and 7s going home with randos than possibly the 9s and 10s. Well, this is also true according to research. Less attractive women are more promiscuous and seem to be more interested in short-term mating. According to researcher Mack and Murphy, women of low mate value care slightly more about male beauty and are substantially more interested in short-term mating. This could reflect a conditional strategy. If you can't get good genes and good investment, maybe it's best to focus on the former. When you think about it, it's no secret that most promiscuous women out there are the ones who are very mid, and the really hot ones tend to be more selective with who they sleep with. And it's not that hot girls never sleep around. It just seems to be happening less with the hotter ones. Let's look at why that is. From an evolutionary standpoint, attractiveness is a sign of health, fertility, and genetic quality. For women, traits like symmetry, clear skin, a certain waist to hip ratio historically indicated reproductive potential. Men across cultures tended to value these cues because they linked to passing on her genes. Highly attractive women then have more leverage in the mating market. They have more choices in men. Therefore, they can afford to be choosier, holding out for partners who are offering more than the average guy. Now, why do you think less attractive mid women are more likely to be promiscuous? Evolutionary theory suggests that if a woman perceives herself as less competitive in the mating market, perhaps due to fewer traditional attractiveness cues, she might adopt a strategy to secure partners. Instead of waiting for that high value committed partner, she might pursue short-term mating to gain access to resources, protection, or even genetic benefits for her offspring. Or maybe just to have a little sexual fun when she sees the opportunity because she has less of those opportunities with the more attractive men. Promiscuity, in a sense, could be a strategic response to a tougher mating landscape. Think about it this way. In ancestral environments, not every woman could attract the top tier male with the best resources, genetics, or status, same as today. So for women with fewer options, short-term mating could have yielded benefits still and offered lower tier women an opportunity to compete with their more attractive counterparts. A brief encounter with a guy might result in a child with good genes from a high quality male, and they then could use sex to finesse a lower quality man to take care of them and their offspring. Or It might just secure them temporary resources, food, and shelter from multiple sexual partners. Due to our ancestral past, this isn't about conscious planning, it's about instincts that shaped us over thousands of generations. Promiscuity could maximize reproductive success when long term commitment isn't an option. Now, think about how modern dating advice and red pill advice tells you to approach dating. In light of the fact that the girls you will date who are the most promiscuous are going to be banged up sixes. So, do you yet see the problem that is going on? All right. So, the conventional internet advice for men says that you can't be blue pilled and stupid, and you must not ever put your energy into a woman who doesn't want you as a sexual partner. And I think this is actually good advice. But then they have you measure her desire by how quickly she has sex with you. That's where things go wrong. Did you ever stop to think that it's going to be the banged up sixes who sleep with you quickly and show you the most desire in the beginning most of the time? Because that is just who they are. And that's just what they're going to do with anybody, regardless of whether it's with you or somebody else. And by you using whether or not she sleeps with you within a first few dates as your only measuring tool for desire, what you end up with is dating a bunch of banged up sixes while calling it plate spinning and then secretly wondering how you aren't able to get hotter girls without a medicine cabinet full of psychiatric drugs. Like, I get it. You don't want to be the chump that she makes wait for sex and when she's slept with Chad or whatever, right? But your focus is in completely the wrong place. And that is why you cannot level up from where you are at. So now I'm going to help you think about this in a little bit different way. Here is an inner game idea that I want you to consider. You don't get anything in life because you deserve it. You don't get anything in life because you measure up and therefore should have it. You get things in life because you have the ability to get it and you're willing to work towards getting it. That's it. Yes, there's an element of chance and opportunity, and some people get more chances and opportunities than others. Of course, we can't ignore that. But without the ability and the work, you won't be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Even people who are handed things lose those things over time when they don't have the ability and the skills and they're unwilling to do work. Without the ability and the willingness to take action and do the work, you generally won't get anything you want. The people who are wealthy today, for example, don't necessarily deserve to be blessed with wealth based on morals or values or some such thing. Some wealthy people, of course, are great people, and some wealthy people are not great people. The only thing that's consistent about them is they had the ability to acquire the wealth, and they were willing to do whatever work that they had to do in their circumstance in order to get it. It's the same with getting higher quality, better looking women. There is no magic to it. You get them because you have the skills in meeting women who are of higher quality. And then you have the skills in making the women who you date feel like they want to be with you. It's really that simple. But what happens when you are overly focused on sex and counting notches and focused on the girls who throw themselves at you in the beginning? You end up going with the low-hanging fruit and lying to yourself that your game and your manly pickup skills with women are what's getting you laid. When in reality, you're just putting yourself in the right place at the right time with some banged up chick who has a lot of problems and who happens to be ovulating that day. Now, you do get some credit here for getting yourself out there, but don't you think that it's time to take it to the next level? Here's a chart to illustrate something important. Now, these numbers are not exact because the data will vary depending on demographic information like age or location. But don't get caught up in the standard deviation of these numbers. That's not that important. It's what's important is the concept and understanding what it's illustrating. Okay. Now, there are female, we could call them incels, women who have been taken or taken themselves out of the dating market due to maybe severe mental health or physical health reasons, severe obesity, what have you. There are a very small percentage of that 25% who have taken themselves out of the dating market due to religious reasons, but you almost never see them. And you almost never notice the ones who are just part of this 25%. And you're definitely not trying to date them, even if you do see them. So, out of all the women out there, that takes out about 25% of the dating market. We measure this data by looking at women who haven't had sex in a year or more. We can make that assumption. Now that leaves us with two categories among single women. You have women who are incapable of being in healthy relationships and women who are capable. Now, let's look at the incapable category. What do you think these women will all have in common? Well, these are the women who are taking meds for mental problems. These are the women who have a history of bad and broken relationships. These are your miserable women out there. And what else do you think they have in common? If you guessed promiscuity, then you would be correct. These women have slept with between 10 and 50 sex partners on average, some much further beyond that, depends on their age and, of course, their personal history. But here's the problem. The 35% of women who might be capable of a good relationship are mixed in with the 40% of women who are train wrecks. You don't know on the surface who is who. Now, let me illustrate to you, though, how you keep ending up with the banged up sixes who aren't capable of relationships. Let's say you are talking to 3 new women this week. All right, so you're getting out there. That's not your problem. One girl ends up not very interested. She drops off. Okay. Another, the hottest girl you've talked to in like 10 years, seems kind of interested, but she's a little bit leery about meeting up. She doesn't meet up with you right away. And then the third meets up with you right away, and you guys have sex like on the first date. Okay. Now you got the girl you had sex with in a rotation. All right. So you're meeting with her about once a week, and maybe sex is happening. And then you meet 3 new girls. The one girl who is leery about meeting up, she ends up going on a date with you, but she hangs out for about an hour, cuts it short. She's really hot, but she just seems less interested. Then the next day, you have sex with the girl from the previous week who's a 6. And then out of the 3 new girls, let's say you hook up with one of them too, and the other 2 drop off, and that girl's a 7. Okay, so now you're managing a couple girls who are basically mids while trying to talk to new girls as well, and it just sort of keeps going. What happens to the really hot girl in this scenario? Well, she just drops off. You become more focused on the 2 lower quality women. The 7 starts mate protecting and bringing in drama and problems because maybe she's a little borderline personality disorder spectrum, right? And she starts taking up more of your time and energy. And then you just end up losing touch and unable to finesse the prettier girl. Thus, you find yourself stuck dating lower quality women who are the easier lays, and you don't learn how to improve your skills in connecting with women and seducing women of a higher quality. So you lose the better women. And now you're left with the easier ones who just aren't that great. Because here's what I can guarantee you. The 40 to 45% who are toxic women, they're going to be the ones who are the easiest to find. They're the ones who aren't going to value their bodies and sleep with dudes right away, to include you. They're the ones who are always going to have a profile on Hinge or Tinder. They're the ones who are the easy hookups after an alcohol-induced evening. They're the ones who are the party girls, and they're the ones who are the cheaters, and they are the girls who will fall in love quick as soon as a guy shows any semblance of value, and they'll do that with you early. The highest value women who are hotter and mentally healthier, they don't fall for you so quickly because they are mentally healthier. So they're able to delay gratification. And there's a natural protective quality that women have over themselves. And when they have good mental health, they are protecting themselves a little bit. They're protecting themselves from falling for the wrong guy. They're taking a little bit more time. They also have more choices, so they can be more selective. Statistically speaking, she's probably minded more towards having a commitment as well, which you guys are not delivering. So when you're running a rotation of lower quality women, you lose the opportunity with the higher quality women. The way out of this is to increase your skills in persuasion and seduction and learn how to connect with her on a deeper level faster. I will tell you, the hotter women will sleep with you by the third date as well, just like anybody else, because it's human nature. But she will have to feel a connection to you. She will have to feel that you're a higher quality than her other options. And if you, so that only happens if you're the better choice and can connect with her at a deeper level. But if you can't do that, she will hold off for a guy who can. Now, out of the 40 to 45% who are bad mate choices, the vast majority of these aren't going to be top tier attractive women. All right. And that's why you're with sixes. But what about the train wrecks who are actually the nines and tens who are really hot? There are a few of those, right? That are there's a few hot girls in the 45%. Well, they're the ones who are going to sell their ass on Instagram or chase athletes on weekends or chase guys with money and status who can get them on a boat or into the club and so on. If you're an average guy or even above average guy, you probably don't have access to these women. And if you are able to have access to these women, you're probably paying for it or at least willing to. And you'll get them sometimes, but they will be obviously very toxic. So you see, the toxic women, they're always available. And they're the ones who are demonstrating what you mistake as genuine desire because they are showing high interest in sleeping with you more quickly. When really, that's just how they are. So you are in the right place in the right time with some basic pickup skills, and you end up with these girls. Now, there's this other 30 to 35% of women that you don't even have access to, the healthy ones. They aren't on Twitter. They're not on the internet as much. They usually don't do dating apps. They aren't falling down drunk at bars, hoping to go home with some random dude. They're out doing life, and you can't even get to them. And when you do, you blow it because you don't have the skills yet to connect with a girl who is really hot and who is relationship capable. Because what are these other capable women doing when you are picking up on sixes with psychiatric conditions? Well, instead of throwing their pussies all over town, they are mainly meeting guys in their social circles. They are meeting guys through work. They are at community functions. Sometimes they meet guys through family. Maybe they're on a night out somewhere that is upscale and nice and higher class, and they meet a guy there. These women are out doing all the things that you aren't doing, and that's why you aren't meeting them very often. So to a lot of you guys, the hot ones are selling themselves on Instagram and OnlyFans, and the rest of them are all trash because that's the girls you have access to. You don't regularly have access to this 30% or so of women who are actually relationship capable, or the smaller percent of that 30% who are really hot. All right, now how do you break this cycle? There are 3 things you need to do if you want to start dating higher quality women. Number 1, of course, is maximize your value, or SMV, sexual market value. Now, don't think that SMV or sexual market value is the answer to everything. There are guys who are far more popular than I am on the internet who make their money by stealing your money to tell you to increase your SMV because those guys don't have any game. All right. So that's their answer. All right. And that's all over the place. And I got news for you, though. Many high value guys with a lot of resources are not getting top quality women either. So do not think that this is the only answer. But that said, you can't be a bum who has nothing to offer either. Okay. If you want top tier women and you want to keep them, you have to meet at least a minimal threshold of value. And the higher value you are, the easier it will be to get access to higher value women and keep them in a relationship. So that is something you need to be constantly working on, which is just your overall value as a man. Now, number 2 is you need to go where the top tier women are. This means increasing your social circles. You aren't going to meet top tier women wasting your time on the internet, watching pickup artists and manosphere videos, and then going on dating apps. All right. If that's what you're doing, you'll be stuck with the low hanging fruit forever. if that's what your game is. Okay. You need to get out of the house and you need to go to places where top tier women go, shop where they shop, dine where they dine, get coffee where they get a coffee, and so on. You need to develop social circles in these places. Go out and make friends, join social groups, be active in your community, raise your quality of life, raise your quality of social circles, and you'll have access to higher quality women. The fact is, we are tribal social animals. So if you look like and act like someone who isn't around higher value people very often, then you just aren't going to likely get a higher value woman to want to stick around with you. She will feel like she is dating down by dating you, which means she won't date you at all. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. You just need to be able to fit in socially. So getting into these social circles will push you to learn how to do that. If you don't have regular access to top tier women, it's because they aren't doing the things that you are doing. You're on dating apps, or you're going to some trashy nightclub where college kids go, or to dive bars filled with fat drunk girls. And then you're wondering what happened to all the good women out there. Do you see how crazy that is? All right. It seems like there are no good women because you and them never cross paths. Most of that 30 to 35% or so of women who are relationship capable are invisible to you because you're not crossing paths with them. So you need to change that. And now the last thing, okay, number 3, which is probably the most important thing, is you need to increase your persuasion and game skills. Listen, you can have all the value in the world. You can look the part. You can be in the right place at the right time. All right. And hang out with crowds where there are higher quality women. But you will lose these opportunities if you don't know how to connect with these women on a personal level and in such a way where they desire you. You'll just find yourself being the friend zone guy. You need to challenge your game to be able to seduce hotter and better women instead of settling for the low hanging fruit and then thinking you have game. You don't have the game that you think. You need to learn. And it's not that hard. I talk about these skills, by the way, in my community, and I teach them in my courses. My community, you can join for free right now. Click the link in the description. Okay. This stuff is not rocket science, learning these skills. It's not magical superpower stuff either. But your results will seem like magic to everyone else who doesn't know what you know once you learn how to seduce and persuade and connect deeply with others. When your friends are always seeing you with hot women and able to get dates, even though you aren't necessarily better looking than them or higher SMV than they are going to feel like you just have some sort of magical power that nobody can understand. But you don't have magic. There is no magic, guys. All right. It's just learning. It's no more magic than learning jujitsu is magic, or learning how to play golf is magic. When you have the skills to do something, you can do extraordinary things. You just have to learn game and seduction skills. That is it. Skills that most men won't learn because their egos get in the way.